Last Christmas we were spared from this shit, but this year you could not save me from tears and gave me something special. Okay, so I'm sorry for that, but oh god, Christmas sports were not so good to me. First, Liverpool could not edge Arsenal and wasted such a great chance to win at home. Then the Warriors had a Christmas stinker from Steph, which I mean is expected, and the referee certainly did not help. And Brock Purdy threw 4 interceptions, and him and Kyle Shanahan looked lost and confused out there today. So, rough day for me. Rough day for the Bay Area sports fans. I'm sorry to you all. But anyway, enough about my sob story. Let's talk about Christmas Steph, who has just been goddamn freaking horrible in Christmas games, which is just no surprise. He certainly has a history with horrible Christmas game matchups. He has averaged 15.3 points on 31% shooting from the field, 23% from the three-point line in Christmas Day games heading into today. And today he was 7 of 21 on 3 of 12 shooting from the three-point line. So he pretty much stayed within his averages and has had like 18 points. And I thought the curse was broken after the Suns game 2 years ago, where he forced himself into a good game. But it appears that Steph just cannot one-up Jesus on his day, man. In the first quarter, he waited too long. I don't think so. In the first quarter, Steph, started off more aggressive, but after he missed the floater early on with like 7 minutes to go in the first quarter, he just simply did not want to shoot afterwards. You could see it on him after he missed a pretty easy floater for his standard. He did not want to shoot afterwards. Then he became more aggressive in the second quarter after the bench gave him a cushion, but unfortunately it did not help anything, and we were once again horrible with him. And he was just all around awful. Defensively, he got hunted down in the clutch and wasn't good today defensively. I thought he had a really bad defensive game. And he was just horrible today. And while the plus-minus stat is a flawed stat, today it speaks for itself, where he had a minus 26 in a 6-point game. And unfortunately for Kuminga, he was on the court with him for most of that time, so Kuminga had a minus 24. And I felt like Kuminga was weird in the second quarter today, where he just seemed kind of lethargic. But in the first quarter, he was aggressive. He gave us a good rim aggression. In the third quarter, he was absolutely cooking. And he was still 5 of 8 on free throws, doing really well on both ends of the floor. But unfortunately, it was not enough, as he barely saw the court in the fourth quarter because Andrew Wiggins was having a great game off the bench, which of course was wonderful to see. And, while Wiggins clearly was not completely fit recovering from the illness because he was drained by the end of the game, he was great today. But why that was a problem for Kuminga? Well, because Steve Kerr does not want to play him and Andrew Wiggins together. And, while I understand that we like to have Steph and another ball handler out there, then usually it's Draymond and Klay, of course, in there, and then you have a place for one other player, which is Wiggins in this scenario. But today, I thought that it had to be an adjustment. And I don't know, man. The league has just too much talent on the wing spots, and you can see in Denver with Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and the big guys they have, to not trust these two together defensively today. Because, Kerr is going to have to adjust, and Kuminga spoke about it, that he cannot control his minutes post-game, while he has been trying to put it all together, looking for while also, passing the ball, rebounding better, and just doing all they want from him. He still does not control his destiny down the stretch. And while today it wasn't one of his prettiest games, he was still really solid and could have given us, more rim pressure. And, more defense today, with Steph getting hunted out there and Klay not being locked in defensively. And I thought Klay should have gotten benched, even though you certainly could have made an argument that Steph could have gotten benched, but his gravity is still out there. And Klay wasn't bad per se offensively throughout the most of the game, but in the fourth quarter he was just kinda getting it out of his system, and he clearly did not have a rhythm offensively. And in the first half, he was getting torch of ball defensively by Michael Porter Jr., who, he had no chance running around Jokic screens and the Nuggets off ball actions for Michael Porter Jr. So much so that they had to switch him, Klay Darius, onto Aaron Gordon and put Kuminga on MPJ to start the second half. So to me today, easily, you had to have Kuminga, Steph, and Wiggins out there to close. Then one of the ball handlers in Podziemski or Chris Paul. I thought today should have been Podziemski. And then you go Trace, probably, honestly. Even though Kevon, certainly, one of the big men. And if you want to go 3 ball handlers and go ultra small against Denver, I mean, sure, but it makes no sense against Jokic, right? So, the thing is that, unfortunately, Steve Kerr does not want to go with the players that are playing the best, and he still is kind of going political down the stretch with, not wanting to bench Klay again, who, has been sensational throughout the last 15 games or so. But today, it's no shame to get benched every once in a while when you're having a bad night, and there's Kuminga who's had a better night. And, and you could certainly argue that Chris Paul shouldn't need to be out there all the time down the stretch. And you can trust Podziemski with what he has shown you. He was once again sensational today to be the secondary ball handler out there and certainly give us more size and be a better defender. So to me, closing out with Chris Paul and Klay and benching the young guys, essentially, is kind of just a cop-out for Steve Kerr. And unfortunately, Steve does not see it this way. And I also gotta give him that, the Wiggins, Kuminga lineups, as you can see here, have not been good. They certainly have not gotten enough minutes, especially when you look at it since the benching of Andrew Wiggins, which was on the 13th of December against the Suns. They have played. It's intriguing that this is our most used lineup. And I think Looney is really bringing it down, because when you look at Looney in most his... then you have the second lineup with Chris Paul, Steph, Klay, Looney, and Kuminga, which has been sensational in their minutes. That's interesting. But when you look at Kuminga, he has had, good success with most the lineups. And then you also have Wiggins, and they essentially did not play together since the benching. And you can certainly understand why, because they've been bad, and in this lineup they were horrible. But I also think this is more speaking about how bad Looney has been offensively and defensively than about Wiggins and Kuminga. And the problem is, when Wiggins has a good game, you don't play him with Kuminga. So how can we have good results in the lineups when Wiggins has not played with Kuminga when he had a good game, right? That certainly does not help anything also, that you can't play the two together when they're both having good games. You just want to go with one. And I think Kerr just needs to give that duo more chances, more tries. And yeah, that's about it from my perspective. A great performance from the bench. Chris Paul was really solid. Dario Saric was great off the bench. The whole bench unit just outplayed the Nuggets bench. They were rebounding sensationally. They played well pick and roll wise. Chris Paul was knocking his three down. They were getting to the line. They were abusing mismatches with the bench. They were going to the post a lot. Wiggins was great from the post, which has not been there all year. Kuminga attacking the rim. Saric was really good attacking the rim. So, what a great performance from the bench. Unfortunately, Splash Bros turned into the Trash Bros today, and despite all that, we were in this game with a horrible whistle. Once again, the Warriors cannot touch anyone on defense, and the Nuggets can play physical all they want, and Jokic cannot simply get a flop technical, unfortunately. I love Jokic, I do, and I watch Nuggets games, and I know his whistle is usually really bad. Like, for example, against the Nets, where he had his hand all scratched, but he can get a whistle there. But against us, of course, he has to get the whistle because the referees just hate the Warriors. That's a little bit salty me because of how rough, the Niners game also was. But it really sometimes feels like the referees have something against us, which, to be fair, makes sense, right? Draymond is a pain in the ass, certainly. Steph can be a little tricky with his, showmanship. And I guess the refs just had enough of us throughout the years. And Steve Kerr really went off on that, he said how the league is allowing players to BS their way to the foul line and how disgusting the second half was. But still, this game is on Steph mostly, and Kerr for not having the balls to go with 2 wings down the stretch and bench Klay again. While it would certainly be cruel to bench Klay after, he's been sensational, it felt like the right move today, and you should go with the right moves, not with pleasing the players. Because Klay has responded to the benching in the fourth quarter last time sensationally. And I know you might say with Klay it has to be a little different because his ego could be more fragile, but we do not know that really. Might be, I don't know. But I think Klay wants to win at the end of the day, and he of course will feel that he should be out there, but I think he certainly wouldn't make it like that difficult. I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it now. Anyway, rough loss, but the Warriors once again have a homestand following a huge win following a huge loss against the Nuggets, which last time that happened, we went on a losing streak, which I found really funny. When you look at it, the last time we played in Denver, it was once again another moral victory per se, because we were not on a back-to-back, but we were on the end of a road trip, and without Draymond here also, and I'm pretty sure someone else was injured there, and we, were in this game and could have easily won this game. And then we went on a huge losing streak at home. And now we played in Denver on Christmas. And I'm sorry. We played in Denver on Christmas. And we have a huge homestand with Miami, which is a tough team. Dallas, which is a tough team. Orlando, which is a tough team. Denver again, which is another tough team, of course. Then the Pistons, then the Raptors, then the Pelicans. So, a huge homestand, and you certainly hope that these first 4 games don't go the way they did after we played the Nuggets last time. Anyway, that's all for today. As always, be kind to yourself and to others. Love yourselves as much as possible, and I'll catch you all next time. Love and be, baby.